lahat and I think si Sir Rogar po ay naka-mute pa.
Ay, sorry.
Okay, sige. Take ko
Grabe
tayo,
yung
sir. Balik ka po sa
sorry.
simula.
Oo, grabe yung
Sige.
emote ko, no? Pero naka-ano pala ako,
Ah,
naka-unmute. Okay. Sorry, pasensya na. Ayun, ganun talaga pag live, 'di ba? Masyadong nakaka-overwhelm kasi ang Eat Mo Live. Ayun, so, ipapakilala ko nga pala ang aking kasamahan na si Tutor Jen. Hello, Tutor Jen.
Hello po, magandang hapon sa lahat and masaya po ako na naging bahagi po ako ngayon ng Tulay Online Tutorial at masaya ako na magsisimula tayo sa bagong taong panuruan kasama kayo mga online learners dito sa ating Itulay Online Tutorial.
Okay, so ipapakilala ko din pala ang aking sarili. Ako nga pala si Rogar, Tutor Rogue for short. Kami ay nanggaling sa ano sa dibisyon ng Davao City. Ako nga pala ay nasa Francisco Bangoy National High School nagtuturo. How about you, Tutor Jen?
Ako naman ay si Tutor Jen or Jen Pepito from Daniel R. Aguinaldo National High School, still in Davao City. I'm teaching senior high school but I'm blessed to be part of Science 7 and I'm excited to learn more from our learners as well.
Ayan. Okay, so sa mga nanonood, kami po ay handang tumulong sa inyo, mga grade 7 students. So, hi and hello po natin ang ating mga estudyante. Ang pinakauna nag-comment kasi si Geman A. Amedo. Hello, hello. Okay, from grade 7, Sampaguita. Ayan. Sino pa? Si Katniss, si
Katniss Gay.
Aisa. Ayun. Okay, so kindly share our program. So this is our social media platforms. We have Facebook, EdTech Unit Facebook page, DepEd Tayo Facebook page. We have also our DepEd Philippines YouTube channel, DepEd Educational Technology Unit YouTube channel, and DepEd TV YouTube channel. Ayun. So, Tutor Jen, so what is our lesson for today?
Okay. Salamat, Sir Rogar. Para sa lahat ng mga learners natin ngayon, it's the first week of the school year. This is quarter 1, week 1. And ang ating references, mga modules na pinagkunan natin, ang ating mga input this afternoon are from our resources from SDO Calabarzon 4A, their module, and SDO Davao City.
Ayan. Okay, so our topic is all about components of scientific investigation. So ano nga ba ito, Tutor Jen?
So, for sure, may mga learners tayo na naka-experience na pinagawa ng experiment ng elementary. Siguro, nag-start sila ng mga mungo seeds, tapos gumamit ng tissue, tapos paper cup. For that, in that sense, for sure, they have already tried doing simple experiments or investigation on factors that affect the growth of such plant. Now, when we speak of components of science investigation or scientific investigation, we will learn this afternoon what do we need to have or to possess as learners or as investigators in order to do investigation in a scientific manner.
Wow, so nagbabaga talaga yung ating tatalakayin ngayon, di ba? Tutor Jen, kasi may mga ganon-ganon na effect. Okay, so na-excite na ako and then na-excite na rin ang ating mga taga-subaybay. Hello, hello. Nandyan pa rin yung ating kaibigan ni si Joshua at saka si Dylan. Hello, hello dyan sa inyo. Okay, maraming salamat, Tutor Jen, for that background. Now, let's proceed to what is our most essential learning competency for quarter 1, week 1, Tutor Jen.
Our most essential learning competency for the first week is for you learners to describe the components of a scientific investigation.
Ayan, so these are the objectives to be discussed. We have discussed the basic science process skills, of course. We will going to teach you what are the science process skills. Since you are grade 7, so starting pa lang, kailangan yung malaman what are those processes. Second is to describe the scientific attitudes, okay? Ano yung attitude natin toward science. And number three, we have to identify the basic steps in the scientific method. Right?
Yes. And
Okay.
yan. So we
Go,
have three
go. Please.
objectives for this afternoon. So let us start. And when we speak of scientific investigations, tanungin muna natin ang ating learners. You may comment para malaman po namin kung
Yes.
ready na po ba
Oo.
kayo to start our lesson for the week.
Ayan. So let us hear kung ready na ba ang lahat. I think they're all ready, Tutor Jen. So let's proceed to our pre-assessment muna. 'Di ba? Okay. So we have prepared 5 questions to test you preliminary on what are your prior knowledge about this lesson. Sige. Una ka, Tutor Jen.
Sige. We're asking our learners to have your pen and paper ready. And let's start with the first question for your pre-test. Number 1, as a scientist, what will be the next step after making a hypothesis? A, hypothesis testing. B, drawing conclusion. C, asking question. D, making observations. Again, number 1, as a scientist, what will be the next step after making a hypothesis? A, hypothesis testing. B, drawing conclusions. C, asking question. Or D, making observations. And sabi po ni learner, Rian Resurrection, good afternoon, and ready na po daw sila. Yes, ready. So continue tayo. Question number 2. What science
Okay.
process skill is important as we identify problems to be investigated? A, predicting. B, observing. C, classifying. D, inferring. Now, please
Okay.
type your answer in the chat box and we'll see your responses.
Okay, Tutor Jen, may nag-appreciate sa'yo. Sabi ni Sister Jessica Maribo Romeo from Antipolo, Division of Antipolo, kasi tutor din siya. Napakagaling naman ni Tutor Jen. Congrats po. Wow. Okay.
Thank
I
you,
think
Ma'am
may
Jessica.
oo. Si Tutor Jessica is from Antipolo, Division of Antipolo. Ayun, so hello din kay Tutor Rainier Garcia de Jesus watching from SDO Caloocan. O, di ba? Yung kapatid natin na si Sir Rainier. I think may sagot na po, Tutor Jen.
Yes. Sumagot na sa number 1, si Akisha Ariola. Ang sagot niya sa number 1 ay letter A. Tingnan natin in a while if that's correct. Then we have, ayan, correct. Number 1, as a scientist, the next thing that you're going to do after you have formulated or you have the hypothesis is you test now that hypothesis. Then for
Ayan.
number 2, Sir Rogar.
Okay. For number 2, it is, hintayin natin baka may sumagot. Okay. Parang nag-iisip pa sila, Tutor Jen, kung ano ang sagot sa number 2. Okay. So, ang
Sure,
sagot,
kasi start pa lang ng school year.
kaya nga, parang nagre-refresh pa siguro. Pero tama si Akisha Ariola, no? Ang galing-galing niya. Hello, Akisha. Okay. For number 2, diretso na tayo. It is, ayun,
Ayan,
sumagot na si
Ayan, sumagot
Akisha.
na rin siya. Ayan. We would like to hear also or to know from Miss Ariola kung sang school siya and division para ma-recognize din natin. So for number
Yes.
2, what science process skill is important as we identify problems to be investigated? Ang sagot ni Akisha ay letter B. Tingnan natin kung tama ang kanyang sagot.
Okay,
For
very
number
good. It's
2,
letter B.
observing. Tama.
Yan.
At may isang sagot pa,
Okay.
Sir Roger, si Samuel Mina. Tama rin ang kanyang sagot na letter B. Punta tayo
Yes.
sa
Number
number
3.
3. What will you do if you want to test if fertilizers affect plant growth? Letter A, write a research paper. B, read an article. C, design an experiment. Or D, observe things around.
Ayun.
See your answers for number 3.
Yes. While waiting, no, for their answer, I stand corrected pala. It's Rizal. Sabi ni Sister Jessica, it's Rizal. Okay. So, from SDO Rizal siya. Hello, Tutor Jessica. Ayan. Sige. So for number 3, it is, ayan, so we're waiting
Answer
for
for
the
number
answer.
3.
Okay, let's
Sige lang,
proceed na
i-flash
lang.
na. Sige na.
Oo.
Sige. Yeah. So once you wanted to test if the fertilizers affect growth of plants, you wanted to know that the result, and you design an experiment. Yan, may nakasagot na ng tama,
Yes.
Sir Rogar. Si
Yes.
Fernandez King
King.
Emmanuel.
Ayan, congratulations. Now let's proceed to number 4. So ako na. Which factor in the experiment can be changed? A, independent variable. B, dependent variable. C, constant variable. Or D, modifying variable. So ano nga ba itong variable, Tutor Jen?
From the root word no, mag-vary, nagbabago, pwedeng
Yes.
baguhin. So, meron tayong mga iba't ibang uri ng variables. Isa na-mention na dyan sa choices, you have independent, dependent,
And then,
constant, or modifying.
okay, so along with our discussions, it will be discussed later on, lalo-lalo na sa testing of hypothesis. Am I right, Tutor Jen?
Yes, and
Yes.
for sure nag-iisip ating mga learners sa sagot sa number 4.
Okay, so diretso na tayo kasi
Yes,
time is
number 5.
running. Number 4, it's letter A. Ayan. Okay, so let's proceed to number 5. In an experiment of finding what factor affects plant growth, what is the dependent variable? A, kind of plant. B, measurement of plant growth. C, exposure to sunshine, water, and fertilizers. Or letter D, area where plants are planted. Ayan. So, may iba't ibang factors pala, no, that affects the plant growth, Tutor Jen.
Yes, and
Diba?
in connection to the concept of variables, let's address a misconception among our learners kasi kadalasan po ng kanilang sagot ay letter B.
Letter B,
So
oo.
confused sila sa independent at saka dependent variable. Parang siguro it will help if they connect to yung sa English yung cause and effect. No?
Yes.
Si independent yung cause, tapos si dependent yung effect. So kung
Effect.
ano yung binago
Yan.
mo in relation to number 4, what did you change? Then that's the independent. Whatever is the effect, that's
That's
the
the
dependent.
dependent. Okay, tama.
It may
Okay,
sumagot
so
na Sir Rogar
may sumagot
sa number
na and
5.
their
Yes.
answer is letter C. Let's check. Okay, it's letter B. It's a measurement of plant growth. Okay?
Nakatama rin si Zarina
Oo,
Michelle
Zarina Michelle.
Norberte.
Ayan. Congratulations, everyone. Now, let's proceed to our lesson. Okay. Tutor Jen, take it away.
So, for our learners, may picture kayong nakikita ngayon sa screen. Bigyan ng mga ilang segundo, itigan, and answer the questions. 1, what do you observe in the picture? And can you say that there is a problem in the situation? Anong nakikita nyo ngayon sa larawan? And is there a problem in the situation?
Okay. So, ano kaya ang mga iba't ibang nakikita nila? So kindly chat all your observations para malaman namin kung ano ang masasabi nyo sa larawang ito. Tama? 'Di ba, Tutor Jen?
Yes, tingnan natin
Okay.
kung nakikita nila ang ating nakikita sa Rogar.
Yes, actually no, medyo delayed lang siguro ng konti. Alam mo naman yung internet provider or internet connection, lalo-lalo na ngayon na umuulan, umaambon, right? Okay. Sige. So from that picture, you may able to see, ayan, sabi ni
Sumagot
Xavier
na si
Kyle, nag-earthquake.
nag-earthquake.
Ayan. Sige, thank you. Sabi niya nag-earthquake. Saan kaya siya na paaralan galing si Xavier Kyle? You can also add your school or your SDO for it to be recognized as well. Ayun. Sige.
Sige, Sir Roger, continue natin.
Okay, let's continue. Okay, dito muna. Okay. Sabi ni Dave Ducuse, nag-earthquake din. So
Nag-earthquake.
we let you see the observe a picture of all the problems rather. Okay, okay, may sumagot din shooter Jen. Okay, basahin ko
Yes,
muna.
ito, very active
Earth,
ito si Akisha.
yes, sabi ni Akisha, the mother and son will give some of everyone needs. Ayan. Then sabi ni Shooter Jessica, earthquake. And sabi ni Ven Isra Kyle Vernice, it is people are helping the others cause their houses was broken down by an earthquake. Yes, their house got
Very
wrecked.
house ako.
Okay. Ayan, or wreck. Ayun. So, lahat yan ay problema talaga, Tutor Jen. So, that's why our topic is about science investigation. Let's investigate the problem itself. And from that problem, what are the solutions that we're going to do using the scientific method or scientific investigations, right?
Siguro as early as grade 4, 5, or kaya 6, natutunan nila yung scientific method. So, basically, it's similar process. That's the root or main process that they're going to follow when they're doing scientific investigation. So, we ask them now kung ano yung kanilang na-observe. We start by observing.
Yes, correct. So at least from that meron na silang skill which is good observation, right? Nakikita nila talaga
Tama.
at meron pang nag-comment na mag-share po sila ng blessing sa mga apektado ng lindol, minors na inaasikaso ang bata, helping people who suffered from earthquake from Irene Rayos Umbak National High School. So dyan pa lang, Tutor Jen, alam na nila, may observation na silang skills na develop. Tama?
Nakita nila kung kumbaga may mga bagay sila nakikita and they give meaning to it or interpretation also.
Yes. Now let's proceed to an activity, and this is called picture analysis and text twist. Okay. So rearrange the word to find the skill used in every science activity. Okay. So ito yung picture. And number 1, yan. Your teacher asked
Question
you,
1.
yes, your teacher asked you to group crashes as biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and residuals. So these are the text twist or the rumbled letters. Ano kaya ang sagot niyan? Okay? What skill? Okay? Teacher Jen,
Ginagamit nila ito, tama, Sir Rogar, ginagamit nila ito pag pinapatapon sila ng basura sa classroom every
yes,
afternoon, pag cleaning time, tapos
yes.
pinasesegregate ang yung mga papers, plastic, and yan, may sagot na, sir.
Okay, may sagot na. Congratulations. It is classifying. Si Vren Ezra Viernes. Yan. Sabi ni Julien, it's classifying. Fernandez, classifying. Si Vren is from Nueva Vizcaya General Comprehensive High School. Yon. Same with JP, classifying. Daniel, ang hirap naman ng mga pangalan nila i-pronounce. Okay, ganun talaga, no? Larize, ano yan? Larinze, classifying Julia, Akisha, and Dave. Lawrence, yeah. Okay, let's proceed to number 2. Okay, ikaw naman, Tutor Jen.
Question number 2. Sir Roger, ang ating slide. Okay, ang scenario is that your teacher asks you to go to the garden and list down the things you see and describe them by one. Your teacher asks you to go to the garden and list down the things you see and describe them one by one. So, yan yung
Yes.
mga
Oo.
yung mga letters na naka naka-rearrange.
Rumble.
Ano kaya
Yes.
ang skill na dinidescribe sa item number 2? May
Okay, I
nakasagot,
think
ang
may
bilis.
nakasagod na. Ang bilis naman ni Akisha, no? Okay. Akisha answered observing. Yan.
Tama rin si Ara Kalaunan Lagit.
Yun.
Observing.
Okay. Sino pa yung mga nakatama? Meron pa, di ba? Si Julien, Danielle, Julia, Caitlin, Abigail, JP, Dave, Lawrence, Cassandra,
Cassandra, Joshua,
Joshua, and Rel.
and
Okay, sabi ni
Tirel.
Fernandez King Emmanuel observing from Irene Rayos. Ayun. 'Di ba? Ang galing-galing nila. Ito naman.
Number 3, Tutor Rogar.
Okay, number 3 question. Your teacher asked you to share the result of your experiment in front of your classmates. And this is the rumbled letters. Ano kaya yan? 'Di ba? So, while waiting for their answers, Tutor Jen, napapansin ko maraming manok dyan, Tutor Jen. Saya-saya naman.
Nakiki-join sila sa tutorial.
Oo, actually. Nakiki-join at saka, ano din, nagbibigay ng sagot. 'Di ba? Okay, I
Yan
think
na,
may answer
Tutor
na.
Rogar.
Yan. It's Bren Isra Calviernes. Ang sagot niya, communicating. Xavier Cal, communication. Daniel Flores Garcia, communicating. Akisha Ariola, communicating. Ara, Julia, Zarina, JP, Jenrine, Julien, Dave, John Riv, Vidwiti, okay, Jadenmer, and Abigail, they are answered communicating. Very good. Congratulations. Wow, keep answering, guys. Ang saya-saya, di ba? To think this is the first day of the class, right? For grade 7 science. Napaka-overwhelming yung kanilang support. Maraming salamat. Di ba, Tutor Jen?
Tama. At very participative itong ating mga learners. Kahit siguro yung iba sa kanila hindi pa nakikilala lahat ng mga kaklase o lahat ng kanilang teachers, but they stood of Science 7 sa A2
Yes, okay. So at least nagiging advanced na sila kumbaga. 'Di ba? Lalo-lalo na yung mga nasa module. At least they will they will be guided na in terms of answering their module because of E2LAI. Okay?
Proceed
So let's
tayo,
proceed to
tutor.
number 4. Tutor Jen.
Okay. Number 4, your teacher asks you what will happen if you mix baking soda and vinegar. What skill is being asked, or what skill are you going to use once you try to see if you mix baking soda and vinegar? What will happen if you
Oo.
mix the two?
Oo nga, Tutor Jen, no? Ako nga nung ako'y bata pa, I could still remember na may mix-mix ako, yung kape, tapos nilagyan ko ng gatas, tapos nilagyan ko ng Milo, or yung ganon. So, I am very, like, ano kaya mangyayari pag ganito, ganito? So, it's a skill pala na you are very, yung gusto mong malaman kung ano to, anong ganito, and so on and so forth. Tama ko, di ba, Tutor Jen?
It's a number 4. Nag-iisip pa sila. Pero sigurado ginagawa nila yung iba dito. Ginagawa nila itong skill na ito in almost every day.
Yes, oo nga. 'Di ba? Sige. May sagot na.
We have an
Yan.
answer from Fernandez King Emmanuel. Predicting daw. Tingnan natin, Tutor Rogar, kung tamang kanyang sagot.
Okay, it's predicting. Ang galing
Correct.
naman
So,
ni
tama din
Fernandez King.
si student
JP.
natin, JP, Aya, Brienne, Zarina, Caitlin, Kisha, Julia, Jaden, Julien, at marami pang iba.
At
Proceed
marami
tayo
pang
sa
iba.
number 5, Chutoro.
Oo. Okay, let's proceed to number 5. Ito. Okay, your teacher asked you to get all the materials needed for the activity with the given weight, size, and volume. Okay, so ano kaya yan? What kind of skill is that? Sige nga, hulaan nyo nga with all the rumble
Yeah.
letters. Ayan.
And since
So, di ba?
kaka-start lang ng school year Chutorogar, naggamit nilang skill na ito sa pag-blank ng kanilang uniform. Kung kasya pa
Yes,
ba?
oo. Oo nga 'no. Kasi speaking speaking of kasya pa ba, ah, oo,
Up
I need to ano na rin, upgrade. Upgrade yung ano,
grade.
Itulay, upgrade ko din yung aking uniform. Kasi may bagong uniform yung DepEd, right?
Yes,
Ayun, may
and
sagot na
tama.
ata.
Yeah.
Madaming
Si
ng sagot
Brienne,
pala.
Brienne, Ezra, Carl, Aya,
Yes.
Akisha, si John Rev, Lawrence, Cassandra, Julian, at iba pa.
At marami pang iba, yan. So, ang galing-galing naman nila. Napaka-active naman ng Rayos Ombak National High School, no? At saka yung ibang mga
Correct.
schools. Kindly put all your schools po yung habang sumasagot kayo in order for us to recognize your school and your SDO. Yan. Okay. So, Tutor Jen, alam naman natin na mahilig tayo sa stories, 'di ba? Lalo-lalo na yung mga kids ngayon. Kids, listen up kasi magso-story si Tutor Jen. Ayan. So, let's hear a story of Tutor Jen. Story time.
Yes. So our story is all about Alexa's GCQ gardening. When the World Health Organization confirmed the COVID-19 pandemic, Davao City was placed under General Community Quarantine or GCQ on March 12, 2020. The work schedule of Alexa's father was changed, so he decided to make a garden at the back of their house. To keep her away from gadgets and boredom, her father asked 9-year-old Alexa to join him in planting petchay in his garden. Her father created 5 plots for his petchay. Alexa helped by putting some fertilizer on the plants. In the last plot, there was a shortage of fertilizer, so his father decided to use another brand of fertilizer he found in their stock room.
Hello, Tutor Jen? Still there?
Yes, we'll
Okay.
continue with
Okay.
the story.
So,
So every day, Alexa checked their garden and watered the plants. After a month, it was harvest time. Alexa was very excited to help in harvesting the petchay. They looked healthy and had grown well, except for those in the last plot. If you remembered, that last plot used a different fertilizer. So the petchay plants in those plots were small and thin. Alexa could not believe and wondered what happened. Help Alexa find the reason why the petchais on the last plot were thin and small by making a scientific investigation. Help Alexa find out why the petchai plants on the last plot were small and thin by planning a simple investigation, knowing how us, you, learners, little scientists, do scientific investigation can help you find the answer to the question of Alexa. We would like to know how you're going to help Alexa. If you were in her shoes, how will you
yes.
perform or plan a scientific in or simple investigation to see why the pet size on the last plot were like me? They were thin and small.
Yes. Oo. And kaya nga nagkaproblema si Alexa, so kailangan natin siyang tulungan, 'di ba? Using the scientific investigations. So in order for us to help her, we should know also the basic scientific skills, right? Okay, so let's proceed. So let's define first what is scientific investigation. Okay. Scientific investigation it is a plan which all begins with observations that created questions and followed by a series of activities that formulate answers. Right, Tutor Jen? Okay, palakpakan muna natin si
Um,
Tutor Jen sa kanyang napakagandang story. Ayan.
may nag-react ng
Okay.
haha kanina for sure dun yun sa Thin Like Me.
Oo, may nag-create. Okay. So, yun. So, that is para matulungan natin si tutor, ay na si tutor,
Si
sorry, si
Alexa.
Alexa rather. Si Alexa, kailangan natin ng scientific investigation. So, hindi basta-basta na, okay, ganun-ganun. So, kailangan in a scientific way. Am I right, tutor Jen?
And sa yung scientific investigation, hindi lang naman siya applicable sa science subject, kundi in
Mm,
everyday when we deal with people, the simplest thing there is huwag manghusga basta-basta. Alamin muna anong dahilan, kung ano yung reason niya, kung bakit siya ganyan, or bakit ganitong nangyari. Simple things like that, you are already performing or doing scientific investigation.
correct. So, gusto ko yung bawal maghusga, so bawal mag-judge. Right? Okay. So, next. So, these are the science process skills. Number one is observing, which involves using our senses to collect information about a thing or an event. So, yung kanina si Alexa, so tinignan niya bakit ito payat, yung ganito, at hindi healthy yung last petchay na nasa last plot ng kanyang tanim. And if we say inferring, which is making an educated guess about the result of an investigation based on gathered data and information. Right? Okay? Tutor.
Yes.
Okay?
So we have observing, inferring, we have measuring,
Yes.
another science process skill that involves using a standard or non-standard tool in describing size, weight, length, and distance. And the fourth skill is classifying or grouping objects based on common properties and characteristics. Going back to the story of Alexa, say measuring, nagamit niya ito, or kung kayo si Alexa, you'll be able to use measuring if you're taking the height of the plant or counting the number of leaves and measuring the height or the weight of each petchay and classifying, you're grouping your petchay sa kanilang ganda, kung color green lahat,
Yes.
yung iba is wilting na ba o nalalanta, and you're classifying petchay based sa size din nila.
Correct. Okay, so let's proceed. Ayan. Okay, the last science process skill, meron pa. It is predicting, which is declaring the future result of the activity based on evidence. And the last one is to communicate or communicating using words or graphs in describing objects, activities, and results. Ayun. Sige. So those are the science process skills. What are those? Have you still remember? Tutor Jen?
Yes, and we have 6. You have observing, inferring, measuring, predicting, communicating, classifying.
Yan. Okay. So, next. Yan. Let's go to scientific method. So, ito na yung gagawin natin para matulungan natin si Alexa. First is observing. It isn't anything that we notice using our senses. We can make observations using our sense of sight, smell, hearing, touch, and taste. Ayan. And the second method, okay, so this is the example. Consider this situation as an example. When making a garden, you have observed that plants grow fast when exposed to sun or to the sun. Ayan. So next is
Next step,
asking questions. Yes.
ask
Okay.
questions. We when you speak of questions, these should be good questions based on our observation, which will lead us into having questions which will be directed to what we want to investigate or what we want to still learn in or based on our observations. Going back kay Alexa, ang problema doon is are the petchy in the last plot. So ano kaya ang pwedeng question niya? So you may ask,
Mm.
why are the petchies in the last plot wilting or thin and small compared to the other petchies?
Okay. Meron ditong example, Tutor Jen. Does the sun affect the growth of plants? Ayun, that is a good question already. Okay, next. Okay, Tutor Jen.
Third step is making a hypothesis. It is done by predicting the answer based on scientific knowledge. A good hypothesis is testable. Matitest siya para masagot yung question at the start when you started with the scientific method. So if you say if the plants will be exposed to the sun, it will grow fast, that is already a hypothesis.
Hypothesis. Okay.
Fourth
So,
step.
okay, the hypothesis testing, they have how many? We have three variables, okay? What are those, Tutor Jen?
For hypothesis testing, we consider the following variables. Independent variable, this is the part or factor in the experiment that you decide to change. So, i-relate natin sa English yung parang yung cause, no? Cause and effect. Then, dependent variable, this is the part or the factor that changes as a result of what you have changed in your experiment. And letter C or third type is the controlled variable. This is any factor in your experiment that you keep constant. Other references may use constant variable. Okay. So examples dito, the kind of plant, kind of soil used in planting, and amount of water given to each plant setup.
Okay. So these are the charting for hypothesis testing. And that is independent variable, dependent variable, and control variable. What is all about of this Tutor
Yeah.
Jen?
Kaya siya may arrow sa gitna from independent variable to dependent variable kasi gusto mong makita ano kaya ang mangyayari kapag pinalitan or binago ko itong isang variable na ito, isang factor na ito in the experiment. So that's your independent variable. You want to see what is its effect. That's you're measuring or you're considering the dependent variable. And yung controlled variable dyan, that is to reduce any other sources of possible na changes in the results. So we keep them constant as much as possible. So in the case of Alexa, fertilizer lang yung problema doon. So same plants ng lahat para at least makontrol mo na in the experiment, pareho ang plants lahat. And then pareho sila ng soil, pareho they were given water, they are exposed to the sun, and parehong inalagaan. Except lang doon
Okay.
sa fertilizer.
Okay. So I think before we proceed, no, let me remind our students that hanggang scientific methods muna tayo because para mag-overtime na, 'di ba? Para napakasaya kasi ng ating ng ating talakayan. Okay,
Excited
so
tayo sa start ng school year.
yan. So, i-continue ko na. Analyzing, interpreting data. When scientists gather data of observations and measurements made during the experiment, it will be analyzed carefully to see if it supports the hypothesis given. So, kailangan connected pa rin from the observation going to analyzing, interpreting data. Most especially in your hypothesis. Yan. Yan. So, and of course, we have to draw conclusion or drawing conclusion. It is the part where you are going to decide to accept or reject your hypothesis. Ayan. And the last one, if you have already the result, you need to communicate, okay? Reports could be in words stating all the details of how did you conduct the experiment and what are the results and or presenting the data in graphs. Ayun. So, I think dun lang muna tayo, Tutor Jen. Kasi this will be discussed next week, our continuation for this topic. Kasi napakahaba tong topic na ito eh. Am I right, Tutor Jen?
Yes, and marami pa tayong matututunan. Sige lang kasi meron pa rin namang ibang oras and that's going to be next week also. Same time, 1 o'clock.
Okay, so maraming salamat. Ayan, so this has been your tutor, Tutor Rogar or Tutor Rog, and
This is Tutor Jen.